Hello and welcome back to the Hazzabhajan YouTube channel. It is Harry here, and today it is time for the third installment of the Nation Roulette series, which I christened last week, of course with the episodes prior to this being one on Central African Republic and one on Colombia. If you've missed either of those, a link to the playlist is in the description down below, so go and check them out because otherwise I will come for you. If you go on to enjoy this video, hit the like button with all of your might, and of course, if you haven't done so already, subscribe if you're new around here. The website which I used to give me the focus nation for a particular video gave me Andorra.
This should be fun.
Andorra is a tiny country. Like, it's really small. It has a land size of just 181 square miles, making it the 6th smallest country in Europe and the 16th smallest country in the world. And it only has a population of around 77,000 people. So you can probably guess, if you have no clue about football at all, how their fortunes on the international stage have been. Of course, they are practically minnows. After the Andorran constitutional reform in 1993, changes were made to the political system in the country and they were affiliated to the UN. But something else monumental came as a result of this reform. A football association, which arrived the year after. With the inception of the new football association, Andorra sought to establish themselves in the footballing world, and subsequently heralded the arrival of a new football league, the Primera Divisió, as well as a second tier 2, the Segunda Divisió, in 1994. The 1994-95 season was the first in Andorran history, although it was completely amateur, not turning professional until the next season. Furthermore, in its first 9 seasons, the league had more changes to its size in terms of how many teams competed in it than Tyson Fury has. It started off with 10 clubs, but changed its size every single year apart from the 2001-2002 season, where it stayed at 8 teams, although it changed to 9 for the 2002-03 season. But from 2003 onwards, it finally decided to stick with 8 teams, which it has remained like ever since. The league is structured so that each team plays each other 3 times during the course of the regular season, before the league is split in 2, much like the SPL, and the top 4 play against each other twice more to determine the championship and European spots, and the bottom 4 play each other twice more as well to determine who goes down and who finishes in the relegation playoff. Although the season just gone, it was reduced to just 1 game between each of the teams as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, which delayed the season until July. The winners go into the Champions League, and the runners-up and the cup winners both go into the Europa League, all in the preliminary rounds owing to Andorra's FIFA coefficient ranking. Astonishingly, but also wholly unsurprisingly, Andorran clubs have only won a European tie 3 times, with UI San Giulia being the first after beating Tre Fiori of San Marino on penalties after 2 draws in 2009-2010, although they were subsequently eliminated 9-0 by Levski Sofia on aggregate in the next round. FC Santa Coloma followed suit in 2014-15, beating Balance of Armenia after their goalkeeper scored the decisive away goal to send them through to the next round, and again in 2019-20 against Trepena of San Marino in the first preliminary round of UCL qualifying, although in both occasions they didn't make it past the next round. The most successful team in Andorran history is actually FC Santa Coloma, after their triumph in 2018-19 was not only their 6th in a row, but their 13th overall, putting them a staggering 10 clear of second place CE Principat, who won 3 before dissolving in 2015. FCSC have only finished outside of the top 3 on 1 occasion since the league's inception in 1996-97 when they finished 4th, meaning they haven't finished outside of the top half in their entire history. However, last season was won by Inter Escaldes by 1 point from FCSC for the first triumph in their history. The Copa Constitucio, played since 1991 and officially since 1995-96, also sees FCSC being the most dominant team in that competition too, with 9 titles to their name, albeit only 1 since 2012. Last season, Inter Escaldes completed the double after beating FC Santa Coloma in the final. Interestingly, 14 of the 26 teams who have competed in the top flight in its history since 1994 have either been expunged from the league or liquidated, presumably all as a result of financial issues, meaning that over half of the teams who have competed in the Andorran First Division no longer exist. However, Andorra's most successful club don't actually play in the Andorran football leagues, a bit like Cardiff, Swansea and Wrexham in the English/Welsh leagues. FC Andorra were founded in 1942 as the first of their ilk in the micronation, and its greatest success was winning the Copa Catalunya in 1994, beating Barcelona along the way, and then the next season seeing them reach the last 16 of the Copa del Rey, their best performance to date. After years in the doldrums, they won promotion to the 4th tier in 2019 after investment by Barcelona defender Gerard Piqué's Cosmos Holding Group, although they then paid around €450,000 to the Spanish Football Association to replace Sea Reus in the 3rd tier, which was accepted. Only only slightly dodgy. After step 1 was complete in their quest to become a veritable footballing nation, Andorra sought affiliation to FIFA and UEFA, which they achieved in 1996, not quite in time to qualify for the 1998 World Cup, so their first attempt in qualifying for a major tournament was for the 2000 Euros in Holland and Belgium. Suffice it to say,
it didn't end well.
With their first game in existence being a 6-1 trouncing by Estonia, the omens didn't shine brightly down on them, and so it has proved. In every one of their Euro qualifying attempts up until 2020, now of course delayed to be Euro 2021 as a result of the pandemic, they lost every single game in their group in their particular progress, with their first win finally arriving in 2019 against Moldova. They also drew against Albania to avoid finishing last for the first time in their entire history, but those are the only points they have ever picked up in Euro Championship qualifying. It isn't much better for the World Cup either, truth be told. In qualifying for the 2006 World Cup, they beat Macedonia 1-0, whose coach, Dragan Kanatlarovski, resigned in humiliation over the result. The win saw them climb to 125th in the world rankings, their highest position to date. However, they didn't win another competitive game for 66 games, stretching over 13 years, until they played Hungary in 2017 and beat them 1-0, and they only drew twice in that period too. So clearly, it wasn't going very well. Aside from the 3 competitive wins which I've just mentioned, they've only won 4 of the matches in their entire history, against Albania, Belarus, Liechtenstein and San Marino, true powerhouses of the footballing game, and all of them in friendly matches. In all, their competitive record stands at 118 games, 3 wins, 8 draws, including 4 in their recent Nations League qualification attempt which they didn't succeed at, 107 defeats, 30 goals and 340 conceded. Their current position in FIFA's world rankings is 135th, although their lowest position of all time is 206th in December 2011, slap bang in the middle of their losing sequence. Their most capped player and highest goal scorer of all time is defender Ildefonso Lima, with 128 caps and 11 goals to his name. Their best player of all time is touted to be their current manager Cordo, who was a goalkeeper once on Atletico Madrid's books and who registered 78 caps for his country, although Albert Celades, who would play for Barcelona and Real Madrid during the course of his career, also had Andorran citizenship after living there during his childhood, but he chose to represent Spain instead. Considering he only won 4 caps for Roja, was it really a wise choice in the end? Actually, probably won the Champions League, I don't think he really cares. That just about concludes today's video. Thank you very much for watching. I know obviously it's a little bit less in depth than the video on Colombia I did last week. Again, if you haven't seen it, a link to the players with the video in is in the description. But there isn't really much on the history of Andorran football, considering in reality, in comparison with other footballing nations, it is quite a young history. So I've done what I could and I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you did, drop a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'll see you then.